I don't know. It's cool. It's just like a reflection on the year, right? I always get like somewhat sentimental around that, like because every year, I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know why. My mom would always ask me, or my parents would always ask me, like, "What are you interested in the new year?" Like, and so right around mid-December, time period, I start thinking about New Year's resolutions and how
What
people
is it this
always falter, right? So listen to the audio book from David Goggins, hashtag can't hurt me, right? Yeah, that's also a real hashtag from his book. But I don't know, I always try to like, life is hard enough, right? So you always try to like find some inspirational content, and just spending time with a friend is inspirational enough. Contributing to your cause and then being a part of it, like I'm looking forward to that. But around the new year, I was thinking like, well, how do I want to improve, or what do I want to do? And obviously, something's kind of arrived at me, and maybe it's because I'm crossed over to 30, and I see my parents getting older, I see my sister getting older, and I have a little one that's getting older too. Quality time, right? And people always talk about how you make time for the things that matter most to you, right? And so I want to put some structure around spending time with my family and spending time with my friends. So like starting to create some traditions. I'm starting to think about, every 6 weeks linking up with my parents and my sister together and my grandpa, right, to have dinner on one weekend, right?
Are they on board?
Yeah, they're on board, right? And do themes. And I thought like,
how on board are they? Are they, oh yeah, that sounds good?
Right,
or
right.
Is it, hey, you already have a date, we're going to meet this weekend?
So I'm creating the date starting this weekend, right? And yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Put it on the calendar. So I will host the first one, right? But I'm wanting to do...
From then on, it's...
Yeah, it's not up to me. I'm off the hook. Yeah, exactly. I can chastise you all year. But I want to do the same thing around some time with you, right? And
cool.
Yeah, like, so we did this camping trip. You and I love to camp. May not like to camp in the summer in Texas.
Yeah, maybe we'll find a
chiller weekend. And I know, Calvin, like, you don't like to, like, travel all the time, but you will travel for certain things.
I don't like traveling too far.
Too far, right?
I'm a big believer that there's a lot of cool stuff around me that I haven't seen, so I would enjoy seeing that over going 7 states away to see something just as cool.
Correct. And I'm a fan of Texas, and so I think we could
meet in the middle and
yes.
go 4 to 5 hours away.
Yeah. We go, I thought like a traveling podcast would be fun.
That would be so cool.
Right? And then like, could you imagine like waking up, not, sweating your tail off and doing a little podcast in the morning or something like that, what we saw.
You want to know a little secret?
Yeah.
Well, for those out there too. So Justen and I, when we did our podcast, our just makeshift podcast with an iPhone at camping grounds, we both had a blast. And what was cool was we had people from college, our college friends. We were talking about college stuff because that's where most of our time was spent together, was in college. We had college friends like, oh, I remember that. That was awesome. And that was so cool, seeing those interactions. And Justen and I thought, oh, we should make a podcast. And then we talked about it, and we kind of did that thing like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. But then we never really
put some structure or a date around it.
Structure to it. So I was like, man, I really want to do a podcast. And honestly, like, I would love to do a podcast with you every time, every week or whatever, but I knew that probably wasn't likely.
Right.
Not because of you and not because of me, but just because both of our schedules don't. That it's hard.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, I'll compromise and I'll just make my own podcast. And whenever Justen's available, he can be on it.
Sounds pretty cool to me.
So I've done like, I think this is my 8th. You're my 8th. You're technically my 1st back in June.
Yeah.
But I think this is my 8th. I haven't published any of them. Just got the editing software.
True.
So
Which, by the way, we were on a
resolution is
publishing them. Okay, and then that was a campfire chat. Literally a campfire. I think you had like water or tea. I had a little whiskey, right? And we were just talking, and you were encouraging me to take the job that I'm now in.
Oh, that's right.
And I was encouraging you to buy and say, pony up and just buy the software that you really have been itching to use. I mean, you've been trying to scroll around, and you're not a big fan of pirating stuff, right? There's some ethics involved, but you've been trying to make do, and you finally just said, you know what?
I want to do this.
Yeah, and so you just spend the buck, and now you have the software, and you're kind of empowered by it.
Just to put it in reference, I spent $400 on these 2 mics and this recorder. I've spent another $250 for a year of the video editing software.
Wow.
I've spent another couple hundred, 200, 300 bucks on my domain, calvinkeeney.com, which I haven't released yet.
I didn't know you had the domain.
I have the domain now.
Did you buy? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's going to be, and that is coming along much quicker.
Who'd you buy it from?
Because I've already made streamlinegaming.com. So
yep.
with that knowledge, it's 20 to, I would say it's 50 times quicker being able to just make a new website versus learning that first one. That first one was
the foundational.
It took me way too long.
Okay.
To figure that stuff out. But anyway.
But isn't that cool to like talk about like anything worth doing takes like effort and some sacrifice, like literally.
A lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of money I spent. Even though I'm very frugal and I'm pretty efficient. I'm very efficient. And even with that, I spent thousands of dollars building my first website and ads for it and stuff.
Jeez.
And, and I even hired someone part-time for a year and a half.
I remember that.
I've probably spent like $15 to, I don't even know, let's say $20,000 on it.
Yeah.
And made $1,500.
Yeah.
Folks, I would suggest this to people to do.
But the return on investment's way bigger picture.
Bigger, yeah, it's much bigger picture thing for me, and it makes sense to me. But again, like I do a lot of things in life I wouldn't suggest to people.
But that's the thing about you that like I find to be, and look, in full transparency, right? When people ask me about how you're doing, it's a lot easier for me to communicate it than some other people. And my family, who cares about you, right? I always know that when I'm going to spend time with Calvin, that like Calvin's the kind of guy that goes after stuff that he cares about, he enjoys, and doesn't give a flip about what people think, right? I mean, you go after your passions, right? And despite losing money, despite whatever pitfalls come your way, you've figured out a way to support yourself, right? And not bother people and just go about your passions. And not many people can say that. A lot of people end up in, nothing against this, right? But life happens, it passes them by. They're 10 years passed into a drop-dead job that they really don't like, that there's no passion about it, and they always go like, well, I wish I could have, or what if? And you're kind of living life in a way of like, you're not going to have any type of doubts as to whether a what if.
Yeah, I definitely, most, if not all, my actions are definitely mapped towards,
what you love at the
time. If
time.
I'm older, will I regret not doing this? And making my Streamline Gaming website, starting my personal brand, calvinkeeney.com, and this podcast. Like I know it's very likely that I won't ever make money from any of it.
Yeah, and that's
a positive
you're not
game.
Doing it for it,
but,
right? Yeah.
There's a chance I will, and much more important to me, not the money, but like the impact that I could have with teaching people how to make and sell a board game, or with my personal brand, teaching other creative people how to be creative, and teaching other caring people how to be more caring, and teaching competitive people it's okay to be competitive, but to have a healthy way to go about it. Competitiveness, which I struggled with as a kid and still struggle with today.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, for me personally, like I can't speak for anybody else, it's sort of inspiring because look, I have friends in all different types of walk of life, but I don't, you're basically my best friend, right? And it's inspiring to me because you kind of take on the world with this mentality of I'm just going to figure it out, right? I'm just going to, and through sheer effort, sometimes money, you just attack life, and it inspires me to start thinking about like, okay, what things do I want to do, right? Because to try and tie it back to the camping scene, we're lying in like the tent talking about like, you asked me, what do you want to do in life? What do you want out of life? And I, named a few things, and you're like,
first night.
Yeah, the first night. And you're like, okay, so basically what you're saying is you want to do a lot of cool shit in life, right? And I said, yeah, at that time, I had my mind about living life to its fullest and trying to maximize the time here on earth to create memories and experiences, right? With and without family kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And one of Calvin's, aspirations, which was like somewhat, I didn't know how deep we wanted to go. So Calvin, I asked him the same question. You're like, I want to help, was it 100,000 people?
100,000 or more people. So at that time, I had my life goal that I had just figured out, I think from February, I don't remember exactly when. It was probably close to the camping trip. I finally put a number on it based on Phil Hellmuth's book, #Positivity. That's the name of the book.
Okay.
And he encouraged you to make a life goal. To me, I thought of a couple of different iterations, and I landed on help a lot of people. And then he suggested put a number to it. So like, I don't know, 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like that's not a goal that you just reach in a day or 2 days or
No.
This is a life goal. So once I had that life goal, I now can map my daily or my yearly, my weekly goals and actions to that life goal. So
you can see whether you're progressing or not, kind of thing.
Is playing video games 8 hours a day, which I happen to do still sometimes. I mean, not 8 hours a day, but like I used to do that a lot, and now, I definitely think about it more when I'm playing games a lot or doing something that doesn't map towards that. I still love games, but
yeah.
When I at the end of my day, usually I'll rethink about my day and think, what all did I do that was creative, caring, and competitive, and what in those 3 things did I do that helped someone else? Because again, I'm wanting to help 100,000 or more people in a positive and significant way, and that's kind of what.
It's a way to evaluate how you're doing.
Yeah, and on the days where I'm like, I feel like I had a bad day, usually when I did, it's usually that I didn't do things that map towards that. And I've noticed that, and it's really helped my mental health and be my happiness in life. I don't have a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money, and I never have made a lot of money. I've invested well, and I'm efficient. I don't know what to call it. But
he's a minimalist, people.
I'm a minimalist. So I've been able to get by. So I mean, I don't have a lot of money or whatever at this point in my life, but I'm chasing what I love, and that's my mental health
which is key.
Because
a lot of people can have a lot of money and their mental health be very, very poor.
I've been there.
But I mean, when I say inspiring, I get to thinking about what lessons I want to teach Jules, my daughter, growing up. And you talked about like these short films that you're doing with like a friend of yours, and I was thinking, man, like some of the best films that I've seen in my time have just a way of explaining life is complicated, but it's not, is what comes to mind, right? And you think about the Pixar studios or DreamWorks and all these animated movies, and they use all these unique characters to get a laugh and to create scenarios that we as humans are in all the time. And there's usually a prevailing theme that you understand either in the middle or towards the end of the movie that like has an application to your life, right? And I just started thinking, man, like all these podcasts, we talk about funny things, we talk about technology, we talk about significant items in our life that we've experienced or things that we haven't that we want to share. But I love to like collaborate on creating like a story or some type of item that would help not only Jules but help other people go, okay, that's something I could aspire to do in life, or that's a way to live, or that's a way of being, right? That could add to humanity.
In my shoes, they have a little one. They're trying to. It's their first time. What do I do with a kid?
Yeah.
There was no school and
how to be a parent.
How to be a parent. I mean, there was technically like at home ed or whatever, but in reality, like nothing to prepare you. There's nothing to prepare you for being a parent other than being a parent, I think.
Yeah.
And so, like maybe a story about that world. Could be helpful to another person in your shoes.
It's just a cool media play, right? Like there's a lot of things you can do with this stuff, and I don't know. I would never have thought in that way had I not done a podcast with you, or had I were you not in my life, right? Kind of thing. So
cool.
yeah.
So you're one of my 100,000 people.
Yeah, man. Of course, we're best friends. Yeah.
My day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks. We'll have to do more podcasts.
True. Traveling podcast, look out for it.
Traveling podcast.
In 2019.
We're going to cut this and probably go cook some Kung Pao shrimp for you.
Or Szechuan.
Oh, yeah, Szechuan. We'll just add Szechuan.
Or both.
And we're going to charge the phone, so maybe we can do another one. Or
sounds good.
See how we feel.
All right.
Love you, man.
Peace.
Thanks.